Hey everybody, it is me, Brian Vaughn, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Bride Clogger. This channel has done so well in the last year and a half. We've picked up about 1,200 subscribers in just over a year, you guys, which is amazing. And one of the reasons we picked up subscribers is we do conversations with people that I feel like have been very influential in the clogging scene over the years, whether it's traditional clogging, workshop clogging, competition clogging, or in today's case, making the transition from competition clogging into the legitimate dance world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only clogger I have ever fanboyed out on and messaged without meaning and added on Facebook. It's Mr. Brandon Norris, everybody. Let's hear for Brandon Norris.
Hey, everybody.
Good to see you, Brandon. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Virtually, even though it's not in person. I was just reading the first message I ever sent you on Facebook. It was in 2016. It says, "Hey Brandon, I know you don't know me, and I don't usually do this, but I just saw your performances on America's Best Dance Crew, and you are the coolest clogger I have ever seen." Honestly, Brandon, when I saw you on So You Think You Can Dance, I literally, the first thought in my head, and you know, I've done a lot of clogging. I've been doing it for 38 years. I've done tons of the TV stuff, and your appearance on So You Think You Can Dance, in my mind, in my opinion, is the coolest clogging appearance that has been on TV today.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
That's awesome.
So let's get to know Brandon a little bit, you guys. So Brandon, first of all, tell me a little bit about like how old you were when you started clogging, where you started clogging, and what clogging was kind of like in your community.
Okay. I was 3 years old when I started. I actually didn't take lessons. My mom and my sister started taking. Well, let me back up a little bit. It started with my grandpa. He went to the Smoky Mountains and came home and was ranting, going on about how he saw this clogging, and it was just the coolest thing. He wanted his grandkids to learn how to clog. So my mom and my sister enrolled in a local, just regular recreational clogging class. And I would, of course, go along just for the heck of it. And, you know, they wouldn't think that I was paying any attention. I would be playing with all the kids in the room and running around, and then I would come home and say, "Daddy, you want to see what they learned?" And I would do the steps and call them just like the teacher. So I was total natural at it, I guess.
I love it. I love it. And so how long have you been clogging then? About
33 years, almost 34.
Wow. Like it goes by quick, right?
It does.
So,
it
and
really
where
does.
where did you grow up? You're from Alabama, right?
And yes. A little town called Winfield, Alabama.
Winfield, Alabama. I was stalking you a little bit yesterday, rewatching some of the America's Best Dance Crew, and I saw you said something about all we have to do is ride horses and four-wheelers or something like that.
Pretty much, yep.
When did you start getting a little more serious about it?
I think it was very infectious at that point. Like, I was hooked from day one, you know, like I would pick up the steps, and I think they kind of obviously noticed that I was a natural at it, so they kind of started working with me more. And then, gosh, I think I was about 7, maybe I was younger, 6 or 7 when we started dancing competitively. We hooked up with a guy, Jeff Corley from Birmingham, Alabama, and he had a team called, let's see, what was the name of the team? He had a girl from Florida, I think. I was so young, I don't really remember all the details. But there was a team, I think they're called Gulf Coast Classics or something like that. So we had people from all over, like the southern portion of the states. And we had a little group for a while, and then we kind of split directions and formed a team called Soundsation. And that's when I started competing, mostly was with them. We had a elementary team that I got to dance on, and my sister was on the older team, and so that
You
was
used to do a duet with your sister too, right?
Yeah, we did lots of duets.
Awesome, yeah. Because Kayla Dillo, she is another person that I totally fanboyed out on. I love watching her dance too, because I feel like when I watch you dance or when I watch her dance, it transcends that you know, a lot of people. I love competition clogging, and I'm not poo-pooing it at all. I really think it's brilliant, and it's the way for a young dancer to make the transition to becoming a phenomenal level dancer, right?
Right.
But when like Kayla entered my YouTube contest and entered her video, and she was a performer. right? She wasn't just a clogger. She was selling that number and selling the emotion of it. I want to get back on track. I was asking you about, so when you started getting a little more serious about it. I have not been involved in competition scene for 30 years. So how did you do in competition scene when you were younger?
We did well. I don't remember, that team specifically. I remember doing solos, and there was always this one boy that was on my team, and we were kind of similar in age. He was just a couple years older than me, and he always beat me. And I couldn't stand it. I'm a very competitive person. So, I could not stand to get beat by him. And then I always, obviously I'm a horse person too. We just talked about that. I always wanted a pony when I was little, and I never had a pony. I had horses, but I didn't have a pony. And so my dad, he told me, if you ever beat John Barry, which is the boy that competed with me, so if you beat him, I'll get you a pony. I never beat him.
It was on.
He quit dancing before I ever got to beat him.
No.
And so I never got my pony.
Dang it.
I'm stuck with horses my whole life.
That's funny. Well, I'm sure wherever John Barry is, he has a lot of respect for all this stuff you've done with your clogging. So now, obviously, your style of clogging is way more contemporary, right? Like you involve a lot of hip hop stuff. When did you start doing hip hop? Did that come after you kind of started doing your own thing, or was that when you were in class?
Yeah, it was definitely more after moving forward a little bit. We formed Dynamic Edition in like 1996, I think, and we started doing our own choreography, obviously for our own team. And I guess just that outlet of being free to do your own thing, that kind of opened up doors.
I mean, I think that's one of the cool things about clogging, and I've quoted Burton on this before. Burton Edwards and I were talking when I did his interview, and he said clogging is like a freedom dance, and at first I didn't know what he mean. He says it's because you're free to do it however you want. You don't. It's not like I love river dance, I love Irish step dancing, but when they dance, they mostly stick to their folk dance traditions, right? But in clogging, it's kind of like America, like you've got a little of this, a little of that. You can add this. And, my style in California has developed its own way. You developed your own team style, and it's all right. It's all cool, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I actually didn't start doing hip-hop until I was about 17, 18 maybe, somewhere around in there. So, like, my style of hip-hop early on was very different than it is now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because... well, a lot of cloggers are self-trained, right? Like when you were doing your early style of hip-hop, it was probably your impression of what hip-hop would be, right?
Right, yeah.
Which I think is kind of cool because it kind of gives you your own feel when you dance, right? It's your own way of expressing it. When I was on Steel Family in Utah, Brian and Bonnie Steele, who, their team basically took competition by storm for 5 years. We were only got beat once, and then we went back and beat that team in the finals. But he was a Harvard MBA. They were self-taught cloggers, and they just did it because they loved it, right? And so I think that's kind of the same thing. You kind of find your own way of expressing it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what got my attention when I saw you first, and that's your appearance on So You Think You Can Dance. Tell me about that day, what it was like, and I'll let you take over.
Oh gosh, that was one heck of an experience. I'll put it that way. It was lots of different emotions and feelings. It was fun, exciting, but also so freaking stressful. There was so much pressure. Beth Petronich, she danced with us for several years. We went and auditioned in Atlanta, the two of us. And we had, we waited in line in the freezing cold outside, and then we finally get to go in, and they just herd you in there like cattle. It's just you come through the door and they're just putting numbers on you and just sending you in your little direction,
Yeah.
And so we kind of got separated and split into different groups, and that was kind of stressful because we were, by ourselves basically. And I remember I had to go to the bathroom. I had to pee so bad from waiting in line for so long. And they wouldn't even allow you to leave your area. They put you in a seat in the auditorium and they wouldn't let you leave. So you weren't allowed to get up and go to the bathroom or anything until they gave you a bathroom break or whatever. So I was so frustrated, and I get to the bathroom, and there's guys in there like changing clothes and stretching in the bathroom, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I have been waiting for hours to go to the bathroom, and you're in here wasting my time stretching and changing clothes. And I mean, like, obviously, you know, it's a dance show, so there's like technical dancers that are like in their tights and stuff like that. You know, like, it's just a totally different world. I show up in my baggy blue jeans and flannel shirt, you know, like, I look ridiculous when I look back at it, but whatever, it's the past. Anyway, so
if I could turn back time.
Right. That experience, that part of it was very stressful. I got the opportunity to see Beth audition because her group was just right ahead of mine, so we were like kind of waiting in the wings to watch. And the very first round of auditions, they give you like, they just play music. It's very much like an improv kind of contest.
Okay.
And so they play whatever song they want to play, and you had to do your style of dance to it.
Ugh.
Yeah, right? So they played, I think for Beth, it was like the Flying Without Wings, I think was the song. Like super slow.
Oh, no.
Like contemporary, emotional, and she's just like, oh my God, what do I do? You know, like, and kind of like, and it, like, now I feel like I probably could have still improv to that song. But in that moment, like in that time, I wasn't even prepared for that. You know, like I would have done the same thing that she did and just be like, I can't do anything to this. So, bless her heart, she didn't make it. They were like, no, because I mean, she couldn't dance to it. Like, she was just like, this is terrible, you know?
Well, because cloggers were so used to mentally preparing a set routine to a song. We're not used to truly freestyling.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was just like overload for her, and I felt so bad because, I mean, you know, you get so worked up and you work so hard for something like that, and then you get there in that moment and you're like, really? Like, I don't even get a chance? So that was bad. And then I was really lucky. And when I came in, she was very angry about this. She was very upset. I come in the next group, and they asked if there were any percussive dancers. And so there was me and I think like another guy that did tap. And so we were like, we are. And they're like, okay, you come forward. You're going to go a cappella. So they let us dance a cappella.
Oh, yay.
And she was like, are you kidding me? This is not fair. And I felt terrible, but I made it through and got to do my solo. And so that's what they showed on TV, was me doing my solo audition for the judges. And then, you know, obviously you saw on TV I got sent through to choreography and then to Vegas. So
cool.
That first round was, that stress level was crazy. And then, you know, I get to Vegas and I'm there completely by myself. You know, Beth didn't make it, so I was all alone and didn't know anybody. And so also another thing, like with clogging, there's not usually that many people in class. So when you take from someone in a class, you can always see the teacher. So not only was I in styles that I was totally out of my comfort zone, we're on stage with like hundreds of people at the same time, I couldn't see the teacher. So like they're like on the stage with you at the same level, you know? So you kind of watch somebody in front of you that you think looks like they know what they're doing.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to pick up what's going on. So yeah, I made it through the hip hop round by the skin of my teeth. I got 2 yeses and 2 nos. So I then had to dance for my life, and they all said yes. And then I got cut in samba. And they never showed it, so I don't know if I was actually bad or not.
Well, sometimes it's better to remember it the positive way. You did a good job, right?
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I felt like I did. I don't know.
So after you did So You Think You Can Dance, which, by the way, your doubles on that show were so big and so loud and so good. They were so good.
Oh my gosh, if I had to do that dance again right now, I would literally die. I'm so far out of shape compared to what I was then. Like, there's no way I could do that.
Did they say anything to you after you were done that didn't make it on camera about how surprised they were that a clogger could actually dance?
No.
They didn't.
I really didn't have very much interaction with the judges. Like, I feel like, again, you know, it's very much a process. They're like herding people through. So like, when they're done with you, they're done with you.
And with those kind of shows, there's also an element of what does the producer want to see?
Right.
Yeah, you know, there's always a little bit of like, okay, you know, are you going to get your ticket to go home before you even dance? It could happen. It could happen. But you were great. And again, that performance, you guys, I'll put a little clip in the video. You guys, he's so good. Truly, what it did for me was it helped clogging grow up in the eyes of America, because clogging is very wholesome, and I love that about it. But it also is, in that way, it's a little bit immature. So when you add a little bit of, I'll call it sexuality or maturity, whatever you want, it just rises it up a little bit to a little more legitimate artistic reception, not presentation, because I think clogging presentation is great, but the way the audience might perceive it. So, hey everybody, that is the end of part 1 of my conversation with Brandon Norris. He's such an amazing clogger. Be sure to check out part 2. Give the video a like and a share, and subscribe to the channel for more great clogging content. You guys, take care.